Hi everybody, I'm Nicolas from Nicky Music. We all want our melodies to sound beautiful and exciting as if we were singing them. There are so many things that have to work together in order to achieve cantabile on the classical guitar. Tone production, vibrato, phrasing, fingerings, articulation. These are just the basic ones. In this lesson, we're going to talk about another monster we have to tame and take control of. Connection. How to connect one note to another. How you move from one note to the next one. And feel the energy and movement in your body. The way you connect notes to each other can either make your music sound boring or exciting. The good news is that it's not magic or talent or something like that. You can also learn how to make your interval sing. I'll show you how I do it. There are 4 things you can practice: overlapping notes, timing, balance, and choreography. Now, what do I mean by overlapping notes? Please try to hear the difference between these 2 examples. I'll try to demonstrate. So, example number 1 sounds like this. Again, number 1. And this is number 2. Again, number 2. Number 1. Number 2. Please tell me that you heard the difference and that I'm not totally crazy. It's a subtle one, but it makes a big difference for you and your audience. In example number 2, I try to connect these 2 notes in a way that the end of the first note and the beginning of the second one overlap. So the first one rings into the beginning of the second one, and then the second one takes over. Just for a tiny moment, they sound together. Now, as always, the question is, how can we practice that? I have 2 exercises for you, the SEESAW and the MEETUP. First, I want you to practice something I call the SEESAW. I'm sure you have all seen one of them before on children's playgrounds. It's this long board with a pivot point in the middle. As one end goes down, the other one goes up. E-oo, e-oo, e-oo. And that's how this exercise is called. Now, here's an example. Try to imagine that your first and your second finger are the 2 ends of a seesaw. Without pressing the strings down onto the fretboard, I want you to place the first finger on the note C on the 3rd string and the second finger on the F on the 2nd string. That's the 6th fret. So it's a C and an F with the first and the second finger without pressing down. Okay, we're just touching the strings. Now we're going to play SEESAW with these 2 fingers. With the second finger relaxed, try to put some weight on the first finger. So it becomes heavier and heavier, and the second finger is still relaxed. That's the 2nd string. Okay, it's muted because the middle finger is relaxed. It's just touching the string. The 3rd string is ringing. Now, relax both of them. We're going to do the same thing with the second finger now. While the index finger is relaxing, put some weight on the middle finger. So it becomes heavier and heavier and heavier. Now the 2nd string rings and the 3rd string is muted. Okay, relax both of them. Now I want you to alternate between the two fingers. The index finger is getting heavier, and now we have to shift the weight towards the middle finger. Gradually relax the index finger, and while you're doing so, put some weight on the middle finger. So it's like you're pouring sand from one finger to the other one. And now on the other side. Yeah. And then shift it from one finger to the other one. That's the seesaw. After you have gained control of your weight shifting, you can practice the MEETUP. In this exercise, you should try to focus on the meeting point of these two notes. While the weight shifting process is taking place, try to let them ring together for just a tiny moment and then allow the second finger to take over. Let me demonstrate again. There's a tiny moment they are ringing together. And then the index finger relaxes. I could do this with 1/4. Now the whole weight is on the fourth finger. This also works for descending intervals. Actually, it's like a relay race. The first note has to pass over the stick to the second one. For just a moment, they're both holding on to the stick, and then the second one takes it and moves on. Try it out. It takes a little time, but you can make it. Let's talk about timing. The length of your notes is also very important, especially when you're playing wider intervals, like a sixth or an octave. Or in my opinion, or in my experience, most of the times it is more expressive to play the first note of an interval longer. I try to stretch it a little bit. This is something we can observe when we are singing. We do this intuitively in a very organic way. Listen to an interval. Sol, mi, re, do. Listen to how I widen up, how I stretch the bottom note. Ra, sol, mi, re, do. For me, the bottom note should be the one pushing the interval. The second note should be the beautiful one. That's the one where you do your magic, forming sound, vibrato, sweeten it up to taste. Sol, mi. That's what singers very often do. So I try to mimic this type of singing, like this. You see, just an octave. Yeah. There's another nice example from Tarega. So I have to play the C wide, but the E flat can be sweet. And as always, what's the most important question? How can I practice this? There is one really great way of implementing this stretch tactic in your playing. I call it the slice it up method. Cool name, huh? I do the slice it up method in 3 steps. First, I slice up the bottom note, or the first note, if it's a descending interval, in 4 parts. So in our example, I will slice up the C in 4 parts. So it's going to be 4 times a C. Ta-da-da-da. It's not 1, it's not ta-da, it's like ta-da-da-da-da, ta-da-da-da-da. In this way, there's no way I will be too soon on the second note, because the 4 C's are taking over the gap. They're making sure that I'm not gonna play the second note too soon. Because if you play too soon, the interval will lose its energy. It doesn't sound so energetic when you do something like that. But when I try to imagine or sing the C 4 times, then I will stretch it up. Then the timing will be better. So the second step is to sing those 4 parts of the first note. Now, in the third step, you just have to imagine that you're singing in your head. If you combine it with the MEETUP, then the interval becomes more exciting and expressive. The slice it up method also works with scales and longer lines. For example, so every note is being sung 4 times, and this helps you keep the energy going. The balance between 2 notes is also very important in order to play expressive intervals. And again, when I try to learn from my singing, I try to describe as exactly as possible what's happening. Do, sol, do, sol. The bottom note is somewhat more intense as the second one. It's about the same thing we talked about in the timing issue, but this has to do with dynamics a little. It's not an accent that I'm going for. I just need more energy on the bottom note, or the first note if it's descending. If I play both of them in the same volume, then it sounds like this. It's not that interesting. Yeah, listen to this. And again, the second note can be very sweet and delicate. Let's do this one. It's a descending interval. Yeah, listen to this. We have to do it like this. That's nothing. There's no connection. No, no. Listen to it. I try to learn from my singing, but we always have to describe as exactly as possible what's happening and try to implement it and work it out on the guitar. That's the hard part. The funny thing is that when you combine the balance aspect and the stretching aspect of the timing on a single string, just an open string, it kind of works. Listen to it. When I play both of them in the same volume, it's not so special. And now just stretch it out a little bit and play it a little bit intense. Here's the difference. And finally, the fourth aspect I want to talk to you about in relation to making intervals sing. Choreography. Heh? That's a strange one, I know. You don't have to do it. It's just me experimenting and trying things out. It's kind of hocus pocus, kind of weird, but you can try it out. When I speak about choreography in relation to playing music, I mean choreography of movement. It's the way you move your arms, your body, your hands and your fingers. How does it look like? But more important, how does it feel like? And does it help you with your timing and your coordination? When I play an interval, sometimes I just don't think about economic movement, like try to keep everything small and play an octave. Sometimes I think like a dancer. How would a dancer express this interval? It's a gesture. I try to move in gestures. So I will play this octave like this. See how I'm moving? Interesting, huh? So everybody's trying to play small movements, but sometimes with a wider interval, it's interesting to try out new things, like how can my wrist move? I think it helps in a visual way, but you can hear it also because your timing will be different. If you play like this, or like, I think it will help you stretch out the first note in the right way, play it in a more intense way, and draw more energy out of the interval. Again, it's just me. If I play an octave here, that's how it looks like. Or you can prepare, it's kind of preparation for the left hand. So if I know I'm gonna play a C G, I'm coming from here, my hand prepares everything through a gesture, through moving towards this interval. Yeah, it's me trying things out. Try it out and let me know what you think. So I hope you enjoyed my view and my ideas on how to make intervals sing on the classical guitar. I know that tone production, vibrato, phrasing, articulation, these monsters are also very important in relation to playing in a singing way on the guitar. And let me know if you want me to do a video on those topics. I also have a gift for you. Just scroll down and take a look in the description. You can find the link. And please go to nikimusic.com and then you can get a copy of my arrangement of Brahms Lullaby. Guten Abend, gute Nacht. It's a really nice one. It's for free. So just go to nikimusic.com and get your copy. Bye bye and see you next time.